Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are in week 4. This is the week of opposition. This is the third year of Jesus' public ministry. By this time, Jesus' popularity had reduced because of the message he was delivering. This isn't really that surprising because Jesus was telling them exactly what they didn't want to hear. In fact, it was Jesus that was delivering the fatal blows that would lead to the cross. More and more, the religious leaders realized that this was not their kind of Messiah. But there was still plenty of work to do, and for the next 6 months, Jesus would spend this time period in what is called the later Galilean period. And this is his specialized ministry. During this time, Jesus isn't spending much time in the public eye. He is mainly spending his time with specialized groups. It might be the disciples, it might be the Pharisees or the Sadducees, and it might be with Gentiles. But his major ministry is to instruct the disciples, getting them ready. Now, what I've done for this group is I've posted a chart. And this chart has all the details as far as what Jesus does during this specialized ministry, this later Galilean period. And I want you to reference the chart and look at the verses to see what he does. So if I were you, I would print off the chart and I would go from, point to point to see what Jesus does during this ministry. But for the video, I'm going to focus on just a few of the passages. And for today, I want us to talk about Jesus and the opposition. And there's two major things I want to point out. Number one is Jesus talking about real spiritual defilement. Read these verses and try and figure out what is Jesus' main point here. What is he really saying about spiritual defilement? And then the second thing I want us to look at is Jesus when he's called to give a sign of authority. Now this is a really interesting passage because when I first read it, I didn't really understand it. But looking at the other references, it started to make sense. The part that really threw me off is when Jesus says, the only sign I'll give is the sign of Jonah. So what does the sign of Jonah mean? Well, Jonah, he was in the belly of a fish for 3 days. Jesus later will be in the tomb for 3 days. The key thing that Jesus is going to show is that he will be buried and he will be resurrected after 3 days. This is the sign of authority that he's going to give to the Pharisees and the Sadducees. So these are the two passages that I want you to check out and look at Jesus against the opposition. Again, Jesus' main opposition were the religious leaders, the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And the Pharisees were the ones that were the most antagonistic towards Jesus. And here are a few reasons why. Number one, the Pharisees did not like Jesus' humble origin. They didn't like, how he grew up, that he was poor and all that kind of stuff. They looked down upon him. Number two, they did not like his choice of disciples. They resented the fact that he chose the people that he chose. Number three, and you saw this in earlier passages, they did not like the way that Jesus interpreted the spiritual rites and the holidays that they observed. Fourth and finally, they did not like his bold assertion to the messiahship. They didn't think that he was the Messiah. All right, thank you very much. Again, try and print off the chart and look at that so that you can go event from event. But other than that, consider these two questions and go and enjoy reading your Bible. Thank you very much.